And I said, well, in my head, I'm like, well, duh, they just cut off a large section of skin and, transferred my stomach to my butt. So I don't think you'd look good either, ma'am. And before I knew it, when they set me down at the table to have dinner, I fainted. I passed out, eyes rolled to the back of my head, urine, like I peed on myself, passed out. They had to call the emergency. They had to take me back to Cipla. And I took advice from someone who didn't know. I probably would have been dead.
Turning your trauma into something beautiful. I absolutely love this. I did it myself. And today on Pop Podcast, Patient Over Profits, I have somebody else who did something just as amazing with a great experience that had a little bit of drama, a little bit of trauma, a lot of lessons learned, but turned out into something absolutely beautiful. On Pop Podcast, we have another real raw story about plastics today. And today joining me is the CEO and founder of the FitBBL, Brittany De'sha.
Thank you for having me again. I love it here.
So thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to be asking you some pretty intimate questions about your surgery experience. And I really appreciate you being raw and real, with our audience, because other than the secret surgery blogs, it's really hard to find the honest experiences of patients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I looked for it myself when I was researching my journey. I wanted to see what this going to be like. What is this going to be like? You know what I mean? Not the polished side of things, not what the surgeons show us on their page, but I wanted to hear the women who were saying oh, this is not as pretty and as glamorous as they're making it seem on IG. This is some real pain. There's real blood. There's bodily fluids. There's aftercare. I wanted to see that. I needed to see that. And I know there are many women like myself. We just need to see to make informed decisions. And so that's what has compelled me to be so open and honest with my own journey, just because I remember who I was. And I tell myself that my avatar is always that young woman at the age of 30 considering surgery. Is this even for me? And who are the women to lead me in the right direction?
So let's start at the beginning. When did you first get the thought, I think I want to have surgery?
Okay, so because this is raw and real.
Yes, we are going raw and real, okay? We ain't doing none of that here. You know how it is. We're going to keep it real because, there's so many people that are, painting certain pictures and facades that I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but it's not the majority.
Right.
We need to know the truth so that it's not going to keep us from getting surgery. We just need to know what's going on. So yeah, start from the beginning for me.
2017 is when I first kind of got onto the radar of surgery. I've always known that I was going to need some type of surgery. So I had my first child at 15, and then I was diagnosed with a condition called diastasis erecti. And at the time, I didn't know exactly what that meant. My OB-GYN and my 15-year-old mind was just like, all right, so your muscles were like this. Now they're like this. Are you going to have the little kangaroo pouch? It's not going to be able to be addressed with diet and exercise. So when you're older and you're done growing your family, you're going to need this repaired. And I always had that in the back of my head that something there was wrong and I was going to have it repaired, but I couldn't address it until I had children. Until I was done having my children. So it came up again.
So when you were 15, they told you that you didn't know what it was, but you were like, this isn't going to repair itself.
Yeah. They told my mom, they told myself, and it kind of happened. They were trying to see if it was going to snap back. You know what I mean? If I was going to have a snapback. But by the time I went to my 6-week appointment, it wasn't back up. Nothing was flat and my stomach was hanging. And that's when I was diagnosed with it. They told my mom, they was like, Mom, diastasis erecti. But they didn't tell me things to avoid. They didn't say anything other than I was going to need to have it repaired when I got older. I had a really amazing OB-GYN, Dr. Terrell Jenkins. And then I had an amazing midwife who would go on to deliver the rest of my children. And
how many rest of your children do you got to listeners?
It's 5 total. I have 5 children total. I never had a C-section. All children were born vaginally. And even when I had a C-section, I would think, would this make a difference? Would they be able to do something? Again, did not quite understand what it was I was suffering with. By the time 2017 came around, I wanted plastic surgery, but now I'm on the whole BBL radar. This is when BBLs become a thing in my world now. My sister-in-law went and had her body done in 2017. I was pregnant with a baby. 2017, she got her body done. And She came back. I was bartending at the strip club and she was dancing. And she came back in with her hard-headed ass. I hope I can say this. But she came into that club knowing that she was not cleared for surgery, but she needed to get her money and she needed help getting out of her faja. And so I take her out her faja and I get to see her body. And I'm like, girl, tell me what you did. And so she was telling me, like, well, I had a BBL, I had a tummy tuck, and this is what this is. She wouldn't tell me who her surgeon was at the time. And I wasn't, she's a Cabral doll.
Okay, I don't know if we should address this now or later. So I'm gonna actually, when we get closer to talking about your surgery, you're gonna tell us what that even means. But you're gonna keep going for now.
Okay? Yeah.
Because I was like, I remember I was looking at the other episode and I was like, what does that even mean?
You got your research done now? Now you know what
I did. But I know that when, for those watching or listening, they're going to be like, a Cabral what? Because they're taking notes. They already started taking notes. They're already taking notes right now.
When I say things like that, like she was a Cabral doll, she didn't want to say who her surgeon was. This is a time where you take the note and says, I need to research who these people are that I want to do my surgery and what is their history, not what they're showing you on IG, not the dolls they keep putting in your face. Like, what is their extensive history in the surgery community, and why would you want to have research done on them? And why are people telling you, like, I don't really want to tell you who my surgeon is because I don't need you judging me, which is exactly what she says. I don't want you judging me. Do your own research, find your own surgeon. I went to the Dominican Republic. So I said, okay, cool. And so at the time that she had her surgery, all the girls in Houston was getting their bodies done. This was becoming a thing. 3 of the girls I went to school with in high school had gotten their bodies done. They were Yili dolls, and I'm the only Duran doll in Houston that I knew of at the time. But there was a Yili, my sister-in-law was Cabral, and who else? There's one other that they were going to. But Yili was the Houston gnome doll. All the women that I were following were Yili dolls. And she was good. I wanted her, but Duran was the one who ended up taking my heart. So in 2017, I started learning about BBLs. My husband is sending me celebrities. He's like, hey, your body could look like this with some weight loss and stuff. And if you're going to get surgery, you can look like this. And I started doing my research. At the time, I started the research. I reached out to all of the doctors. I started getting back quotes. I'm excited. And then I found out about Duran. And she's like giving perfect booties in the Dominican Republic, snatch tummy tucks. Her scar is what sold me on her, because the point of my journey that was most important to me was a tummy tuck. I already had a booty at the time that I was planning surgery. So I wasn't going to get a BBL. It was going to just be lipo and tummy tuck to address the diastasis recti. Well, when I sent Duran my email, she sent me an email back that said, Brittany, lose weight. And like, that was it. One liner. Brittany, comma, lose weight. So I reached out to like people. I'm like, what does this even mean? They're like, yo, her BMI requirement is this and your BMI is that. And so that's when I learned about BMI. And that set me on a weight loss journey. And at that time, right after I emailed Duran, right after I started losing weight, I found out I was pregnant with baby number 5. So my surgery had to be put on hold because 9 months of pregnancy plus breastfeeding, then you had to wait out the breastfeeding time. It pushed my surgery back. So no longer was I going to have surgery in 2018. It now was like, okay, so you'll have surgery in a couple of years. But I was trying to go in 2017 initially. So now it's like, no, you're going to wait a couple of years. So again, started planning. Baby boy was born in 2018. I breastfed him for a year. I wanted surgery in 2020, but that's when I started like losing the weight. And I told her I'll have surgery at the end of 2021. So I initially planned my surgery for December of 2021. I did such a great job on my weight loss journey, but I lost my booty. 76 pounds, girl, lost 76 pounds in 9 months through diet and exercise. I did keto. I stuck to cardio and I strength trained. So I built muscle, lost the body fat, but I didn't build enough glute muscle or like keep my calories high enough to hold on to the butt that I had. So I lost my booty. So I did opt for a BBL. And at the time, Duran, when she saw me, she said, I told you lose 20 pounds. You lost 76. She was like, I've never seen this before. Generally, she's worried when women do that they're going to pick all that weight back up. But I was determined to not pick any of that weight back up. And also just the trolls on social media trolling me like, you just lost weight to have surgery. You're going to be fat again. Like you'll be over 200 in no time because you don't have the tools. And then I started thinking, I was like.
But you didn't use any type of drug or anything, right? It was straight up diet and exercise. And keto, I mean, say what you want about keto, but it's a form of a nutrition. If you still have to eat a certain balanced way, like you're just not eating, everything like carbs and all of that, but it still takes discipline. Like it's not like you can just have burgers and fries, you know what I'm saying?
And you can, and that's, but I love keto as a entry diet. And I always say that it's like a gateway. If you don't know anything about nutrition, keto teaches you how to segment nutrition. It teaches you how to count carbs, how to count, and when you start learning how to count carbs, you start learning how to count calories. And then now you're learning about macros. If you've never known anything, I feel like it's like the pre-K diet of let's start you through elementary, middle to high school. You know what I mean? Let's start you so you can learn some things about nutrition, because now you know how to eliminate things out of your diet. You know how to track calories. You know how to track your macros. And I'm going to always.
Because you have to stay under a certain amount of carbohydrates for keto, right?
So some people stay under 50, some will stay under 30. I was doing 20 to 30 grams of carbs per day was what I was using in my diet to get the weight down. But that lasted me for about 6 months. As I started to learn to lift weights, I was hungrier. So therefore the carbs, now I know how to feed my body. So I was able to slowly increase my carbs and then learn about my protein intake and make my protein intake match. And that was how I was able to effectively build so much muscle. When people see my body, they're like, yo, you got muscle. I'm like, the keto taught me how to get here, and just being thirsty for that knowledge. And then being fueled by the trolls and the haters who all said that I only lost the weight to get the surgery and I wasn't going to be disciplined enough, that I'd be fat in another 2 years. I'm almost 3 years post-op, and I got more muscle than I know.
And I just want to take a moment to just show this body. And you guys, this body had 5 children, 11,000, as I like to say. Like, phenomenal. You look so good. You are literally like, if I had to choose a wish pick, like, your body is a very, 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 like 99.9% my wish pick, because it's thick, it's athletic, it's balanced, it's strong, it looks natural. And I just love that about you and your whole brand and everything, which we're not at yet. So you lost the weight. The Dr. Duran, she was afraid that because there was she had never dealt with loose skin before, or what did you mean by that when you said she had never dealt with that before?
She usually will tell her patients not to lose so much weight, only because of her fear of the same thing, that you won't keep.
Okay.
And she's even said it on her live. She doesn't understand why people get plastic surgery and then go into this whole fit lifestyle, which I'm like, Dr. Man, you're going to have to get a translator and we're going to have to talk. But essentially, she just doesn't get wanting surgery and then doing fitness if it wasn't something that you didn't do before the surgery. She just doesn't think you're going to keep up with it. She's another one. She just doesn't think that you're going to be disciplined enough to keep up with it. So come to surgery as you are, and then, of course, eat healthy, moderate exercise. But she's like the ones in my case who go extreme. She just worries that, are you going to stay extreme? Are you going to stay in this? Or did you just do this completely for the surgery? Which I get that. I get that. I had a goal. And most people, when they hit their goal, they would give up. They'd be like, oh shit, I got the body. The weight is gone. Let's go outside. A lot of women say, I gained 40 pounds after surgery. You ain't never been that fine before. You've never been that fine before. You don't have any type of discipline in place. And now you outside smoking hookah, getting attention that you ain't had before. You are enjoying that new body, but you don't have the discipline. So therefore, that's why you gained that 40 pounds. That's what she was worried about for me. And recognizing that, it kind of fueled me. I'm really good at showing my haters, the opposite. Oh, that's what you think it's going to be? Let me show you what it's really going to be. And so I had to show sis. I'm not going to gain that.
I think that what helped me when I had my surgery is I started a vegan fitness company, with protein and all this other stuff. And I had athletes, I had influencers, and these athletes were chiseled fitness models. One was Mr. Mexico Junior, so they had 6 packs. And one of my models, Heidi, gorgeous, perfect body. I mean, she never admitted that she had surgery. I realized it later once I've gotten into the business, but she had that body, the waist, the abs. The abs she didn't get from surgery. She got that from working out. But I always had that to compare myself to, to a detriment, because sometimes I look at some of the photos now of after my surgery, a year and a half post-op, and I'm like, why did I want to lose more weight? But at the same time, I'm happy that I had those people to look at, because I probably would have been those ones. It took me being with them to turn it into a lifestyle for me.
There you go.
because I would have been like one of those ones that Dr. Duran was talking about. Oh, I had the surgery. Okay, I'm outside,
We outside tonight.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so she obviously accepted you, right? Tell me about when you put down your deposit.
It was the happiest moment, I swear, because it just was like, when she told me no, I don't care that I had 5 other yeses. I had Dr. Williams was ready to do my surgery. Dr. Plazas, is that how you pronounce his name, in Colombia? That was my other choice. And let me tell you, if I ever do more surgery, that's who I would go to. It's Colombia. Dr. Cabral had approved me because I had him on standby just in case. I had to have a standby doctor. I had like 5 other surgeons that were like, yes, I can accommodate you on this date. And yes, you can send your money. And Cabral doesn't even take deposits. So I didn't even have to worry about a deposit with him. But he was my backup. Like, I had a date and was ready to go to him. If anything went fishy with Duran, I was still going to have surgery in the DR. But when she accepted me, I sent that money so quick. And then I started crying because it was a dream realized. 2 years of, okay, I'm going to plan it out like this. The baby's going to be born. And then I got to go into weight loss. And then I'm going to submit for my quote. And when I submitted for the quote, girl, it just felt like it took her forever to respond. It took me a week to get my quote back, which is pretty fast for her. And it was just like, this is what your surgery's going to be. This is your deposit. I sent the deposit right away. And then a week later, they confirmed they had it. And then I was able to book my recovery house. And everything was coming together, and that motivated me more. So now it was like, all right, the clock is ticking before surgery gets here. So now you got to even go harder to maintain. I didn't want to lose any more weight. And then I had to learn how to maintain my weight and stay at 150 to 152 is what I kind of bounce between. You know how it is as a woman. We go between them. And so I kind of bounced between those on a good day. And when I finally had the surgery, it was just like all of the roads led to this. And I'm so happy. I wouldn't change anything about the way I did my journey. My journey was planned. It took 4 years of planning. And I feel like I left no stone unturned. No stone.
There's going to be listeners that are listening right now and they're thinking about going overseas. They're going to go to Colombia. I'm going to Colombia. I live overseas. So sometimes people are like, why aren't you going to America if you're going to spend 40 grand? The thing is, for me, I love, the board certified plastic surgeons. There's in the US, there's some that I would definitely recommend to people who are anxious to leaving the United States. But like, I always remind people that some of those amazing surgeons, they go overseas to train. And so I'm going straight to the country that has the body that, that has the expertise in the body that I'm looking for. I'm using an Airbnb. I'm not like a huge fan of recovery homes, but because I've heard horror stories, but I know from us talking that you have amazing recovery homes. So tell us how you found and how, like, just think of your, like, tell the girlies, how did you find your home? And how did you make sure that they were going to live up to your standards once you got to the DR?
So, one, thank you for the question. It's so important to get inside of the community and like make friends, make connections, get a surgery sister, but also know who you're talking to. So early on, when I started planning, I was told to make a surgery page. And when you're making your surgery page, list your doctor. And if you don't know who your doctor is, just put undecided doll. And if you are interested in a certain surgeon, you can go into Instagram and put in that doctor's name, doll, and their dolls should come up. So if you were interested in being a Cabral doll, you should see some of those dolls come up. Duran doll, Yili doll, and any of the doctors you can think of who have surgery, Samson. The community does it a way that we put our surgeons' names, followed by doll, and then the year we're going to have surgery. I did a little different. I was the expensive doll. I just didn't know who
that page.
I was
at first I thought somebody was trying to steal your information. I was like, blah, report. And I was like, oh wait, that's Brittany.
That's me. Yeah, no, I was the expensive doll, and I left my page there just because after I made the FitBBL, a lot of dolls reached out to me and was like, you do not need to delete that page. There's a lot of information on your page that dolls can use, even though you're not leaving the community, but you won't be as active in it. You leave the page, leave it for us, please. So I made it public so people can check it out. But that is what helped me find my recovery house. So I'm following some amazing dolls, and they're talking about Metropolis Recovery Home. And it was more for the women who wanted to be at your auntie's house, your tia's house, right? Like, you want to be at your mama's house. You want to be where it's not so upscale that like, it's like, I don't know. I didn't care for like the super, like it had to have the bells and whistles. I cared for comfort and level of care. And Alejandra, I say this all the time, that lady saved my life, because as soon as I came into the Dominican Republic, she introduced herself and she was like, whoop, whoop, whoop. And she didn't want to hear nothing. She's very to the books. This is what it is. You're in this country. You don't know, because if you did know, you wouldn't have stayed at my establishment. You would have stayed at an Airbnb somewhere. Don't tell me about what I know. And I love that, right? If you come to me for help, then be quiet and let me help you. But if you got it all, then why are you here?
Right.
So I come in from surgery, and this is why I recommend it to anyone. I come in from surgery and I'm thinking I'm just feeling bad because I had surgery. But everybody else is pee. Everybody's happy. And I'm like, bro, y'all can take pain well. I guess I'm not doing so good. Everybody else was so happy. And I just was like, why are y'all this happy? Maybe I need a nap. And she looks at me and she's like, you don't look good. And I said, well, in my head, I'm like, well, duh. They just cut off a large section of skin and, transferred my stomach to my butt. So I don't think you look good either, ma'am. Just had 3 procedures in one. So,
yeah, right.
Her first question was, what was your hemo? And I said 9.8. And she was like, well, that's not low. She's like, all right, well, I think something's wrong. She had her shoes on. She had her purse. She had her bag. She was leaving. She was literally waiting for us to get there, put eyes on us, and then she was going to go. Right? She's done for the day. We have nurses. Baby, she dropped that purse, kicked them shoes off. And before I knew it, she was in the kitchen getting me like a hemo drink. And she was telling the nurses to make me dinner immediately, get me cleaned up. And they were doing all the things, putting iron in me to get me to look better, because she was like, something's not right. And before I knew it, when they set me down at the table to have dinner, I fainted. I passed out, eyes rolled to the back of my head, urine, like I peed on myself, passed out. They had to call the emergency. They had to take me back to Cipla. And I say to this day, if that woman was anybody else who was running just some meal of the wheel, just fly-by-night surgery recovery home that just popped up on the corner one day, and I took advice from someone who didn't know, I probably would have been dead. I needed to get back to Cipla immediately. But because many of Duran dolls had stayed there and my surgeon herself recommended it, like when Duran sent me my quote, Metropolis Recovery House is at the bottom of that quote. They're so into that if Duran needed them or they needed to talk to her, they have her cell phone number. Like, they call the office immediately because they have a relationship. And so when I tell dolls, I'm like, find a recovery home that your doctor has worked with. Start with your doctor. Your surgeon's going to tell you the best recovery house. So you're not just getting one of these Instagram recovery houses. No tea, no shade, no lemonade. But y'all know I'm a very opinionated person, and I don't care about nothing. I'm going to tell you what it is.
Yeah, and people die in them things anyway. Like, I'm sorry, but people are, had it been one of those other ones, you would not be here, because they are just collecting money. They're not concerned and looking like, oh my gosh, like something doesn't feel right. Like, she was so intuitively and emotionally connected to your well-being, and that's why, I might get a little bit of flack for this, but I have found that unless you have a specific surgeon in the US that has a specific care team, that has a specific view on care, the average care that you're getting in the US compared to the average care in Latin countries is extremely different. I will leave it at that.
Extremely. Alejandra took care of me, got me back. And I think that everything that they did there was enough to get me until they could get me my blood. Because when I got back to the hospital, they had to immediately just hook me up to iron transfusion because they didn't even have my blood. So I had to wait a couple hours, and then a bag of blood became available and I was able to get my transfusion. But wow. I still say, I just felt like a truck had hit me, but I'm thinking that this is normal. I just had a tummy tuck. I had lipo and I had a BBL. I'm normal. But when I look back on it, I'm like, she's right. I was feeling okay until I got moved and started moving from the hospital to my recovery house. And in between that time, I was bleeding. And if I thought I was good, I thought I just needed a nap, And I think that's also too, as a Black woman, sometimes we think we just need a nap and a Coke. I was like, now I just need a nap and some water. And the whole time I thought I needed blood. I needed to get back to the hospital. I needed blood. But I tell people, if you are planning surgery in the Dominican Republic, Metropolis Recovery House is the only house that I will tell y'all to go stay at. I don't know nothing about no other ones, but I know that team of women are going to take care of you. Even the driver, he's not going to drop you off anywhere and just to be like, all right, let me know if you need. They're going to call and check on you. They're going to be there before you think that you need them there. You're going to be like, I'm already out here. Let's go. And they just ran down everything. I had a great experience, but that was the scariest part of my journey was when I fainted, because fainting is not for the weak. And when I woke up, I just remember praying to God, like, Jesus Christ, I have 5 children at home and I have 4 siblings and I have my husband. and I need to get back to all of them. And my siblings are like children. I raised my siblings, so they're like my kids. I'm like, I need to get back to all of these people. And my husband, the first thing he said when I was coherent and we can talk, and he was like, so you're not doing this again. You're not by yourself. Like, I was like, okay, but I'm feeling great. He's like, yeah, we're not doing this ever again. He's like, you scared the hell out of all of us. And I scared myself. I'm telling you, I was in that bed praying to Jesus. Jesus, I cannot go out like this. Please don't go out like this. This ain't it. Also, take medication that's not prescribed to you. Because what I found out too is like, and I'm just being transparent because I've never said this, and this raw episode, y'all gonna get to hear it. I took some narcotics with me. I took some pills for pain, and I often wonder because I had took half of that pill, and then they gave me medicine. At the time, I did not know that I was mixing the same medicines together, basically gonna OD, and something just take half. So after taking half, and then they gave me medicine, I was floating clearly. But there was a woman who did the same thing that I did. She took a full pill plus the medicine that they gave her, and she lost her life. So she OD'd. So I wanted to definitely slip that in there. You do not need no extra pain medicine. You only need what they're gonna give you in the Dominican Republic. I literally went and bought, what do you call those? Like handlebars, like pain pills. You know what I mean?
Like I don't know, Vicodin or something like that. Percocet.
Yeah, there you go. I had the hard stuff. But they already give you whatever that narcotic is. They already give
I think it's like morphine that they give you in the drops. Like, and morphine is strong. I mean, morphine had me feel like a crackhead when they gave it for last one I had it was for my son, my C-section. And I was just like, y'all can't no more of that stuff. And then I was like, why am I itching like this?
Yeah, I ain't used no more of them pills after that. And I often wondered if that played a role in it too, because as soon as I got to the recovery house, I was like, I'm in pain. And I went and took half the pill because me listening to the girls on Instagram was like, when you get to your recovery house, the pain medication is not going to be enough. Take that medicine. The pain medication is enough. The pain medication is enough. And if it's not enough.
Well, you know why they say that though? Because if they're already taking certain drugs, okay, or drinking alcohol, then it's not going to work. It's not going to be as strong. I mean, I just started talking about this, but I was basically drunk on the day of my surgery. I was hungover, but I was wasted, okay? And I believe that because of that, that's why I never fell asleep in my surgery. Like my 14-hour surgery, I was awake the whole time. I couldn't feel anything. But as the time went by, they would have to increase my morphine for my surgery. And I had, because of the drugs and alcohol that I was partaking in leading up to surgery. So that's why I think it's so important that you say that you can't just listen to the people on Instagram because you don't know what their lifestyle is like. Here you are, clean, keto, gym, clean as a whistle, girl. You could probably take a quarter of something and be fine, whatever they gave you was enough. But you're right, absolutely. Whatever the surgeon says you should take and whatever they have prescribed with the home, that's what you should be taking, not listening. It's good to listen to experiences, but not to adapt them to your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always wondered, I'm like, I wonder if that was a part of the reason why I passed out. But it's always in the back of my head because no one knew I had half of a pill. Not even my surgery sister who shared a room with me. I just was like, well, I don't want her in my business and I don't want to be judged for what I'm going to do. So I have. And then right after that, I passed out. So I was like, but I always look back because I said at the same time that I was there, a woman OD'd from taking medication she wasn't supposed to be taking. And I always go back to like, God, thank you for sparing me to be able to say, hey, I spared you, but look over here. So that way I can share that. If someone is telling you to buy medication to take with you, do not do it. They give you enough medicine. And I've heard the medicine ball is really good. And I think I would get it. If I had to do it again, I would definitely opt for the ball. Because a lot of women was just like, girl, I'm good. This boss keep pumping medicine. I'm like, okay.
So you get home. How long did you have to wait to work out again? And was that something that was hard for you to get to?
I waited. I tried to work out at 4 weeks. That didn't work. I tried again at 6. When they say like the time that you can start back, 6 weeks was okay, but it was painful to do too much, right? 9 weeks was a sweet spot. 9 weeks for me was where I really could get moving again. I felt good enough to get to it. And even then I focused on upper body not squatting because I didn't want to mess with my muscles in my BBL or disturb the fat in my BBL. And I did a lot of transverse abdominal exercises to target that deep core and also kind of help because we had the tummy tuck. So the things that I did were just to emphasize the surgeries that I had had. So deep core breathing, I wasn't in there crunching or anything. It was literally just focusing, like mind muscle connection, of thinking about bringing those muscles together, just enhancing that surgery. And then from there, like I said, 9 weeks was perfect for me because I tried at the 4, tried at the 6. I walked every day on the hour. Every time I could think about it, I'd go for a 10-minute walk every hour on the hour. So starting from when I got up in the morning, I would just start walking. I was so nervous about blood clots, so I didn't want to have that. And because I couldn't do much else, I was like, if I walk, I should be able to keep some weight down. I gained about 5-ish pounds post-surgery in the weeks that I could not work out. But as soon as I got active again, everything swelling and the weight all went down. And I was 150 pounds after surgery. So when they weighed me, I was 152. And then when I came home and everything was settled, I was 150. And at my lowest, I got down to 145 pounds.
And I saw that picture, even though you look beautiful. I mean, every size you've looked beautiful. I feel like your size right now, it really do you feel like it's you? Because I feel like it's you. I feel like it's a great representation of you. But I also know you want to cut down also again, right? But you're doing a body recomp. So you want to cut down, but only in certain areas, which is, I think I see that. Like I have like the vision of what you're doing, but like I guess I'm asking you like 3 questions at once, but where are you at now? Like, how do you feel?
So I feel great. My body dysmorphia is spiking. And I think that's where the cutting mentality is coming in at. Like, I want to shred down, even though when I was smaller, body dysmorphia was like, hey, you should be thicker. And also the influences of social media, being so transparent with my body and myself and being called fat. I get a little teary-eyed because my husband has to remind me, he's like, you're not fat. Yeah, well, 205,006 said I'm fat, I'm not lean, I'm not toned. And I'm not used to hearing that because I've been hearing lean and tone my whole journey. And at the point where I wanted to bulk and add more muscle, because we did just finish that second round BBL program planning, which had to go into like reverse dieting and being okay with weight gain. And I hyped myself up to this point. I got up to 170 pounds just fine. And I think that the program building and the weight gain, always like everything is amazing because the people that it was intended for, it resonated with, right? Women are like, oh, I can get thicker and not be overweight looking. I can look like this. And I think we needed that, right? But now for women like myself, who we get up to that point, we're like, okay, now I want to kind of shed back down. I'm working on a summer sizzle program for the women who need to lose weight. And in that, I'm body recomping. And so I feel good about where I'm at. The only time I feel bad is when someone on social media calls me fat, because then the racing thoughts start happening. Am I fat? Have I let myself go? Did I gain too much fat in this bulk? But then I look at my body and I'm like, man, women will kill for this body out here. I would kill for this body 5 years ago. So I don't think I'm fat. The places I want to cut back down are like my arms, but I have to remember that my biceps are bigger, my triceps are bigger. So my muscles are inherently bigger, so my arms are bigger. And what I think is fat is just genetically, I'm not hard as a rock. I still have some femininity to me. And for people on the internet, they want to put us all in this one box that tone looks like this and fit looks like this. And even in the BBL community, because I hear the flack from them too. Y'all are not excused. I get both sides. My BBL isn't big enough. I don't have lats. My hips aren't that big. I don't have that super snatched Barbie doll look. I'm too fit for some of them. And it just goes back to, we're never enough for anyone. And I have to be okay within self. And so for myself, I am very comfortable at this weight. So I don't need the number on the scale to change. The composition just has to change. I kind of want my 27-inch waist back. Right now I'm sitting at 29. So the 27-inch can come back. It'd be nice. But I also have to account for weight gain. Got to go somewhere.
Girl, I take that 29. I just did mine. I'm 35. I was like, I thought I was like 31, but then I got some measurement tape that worked.
That works.
So I would love for you to share with us about when you got inspired to start the FitBBL, what it is, and like who it's for. And I'd love you to take a moment because it is actually revolutionized in my eyes what people see when they look at surgery and its correlation to fitness, to the point that you have surgeons literally copying you and creating their own YouTube channels, trying to copy you, but they're not getting anywhere near as close as you are to perfecting it. But like, tell us about that program, what it is, and what inspired you to start it.
So, girl, you're gonna make me cry, because I can't sit here and say that the FitBBL was created, like I just woke up one day and wanted a fitness program. It was after sharing my journey, just because I'm a girl's girl. I just wanted the girls in my community. Everyone seemed to have something going. Like, you go to this doll for surgery packing, and you go to this doll for compression. Shout out to Larissa, Duran 2020 doll. And you go to this doll for your flight and like itinerary and things like that. And I was like, well, what is my contribution to the community? Because I'm here. I've been here for, at that point, 2 years, and people know of me. They know who I am. I'm always like hyping other people up and sharing good info. And so I was a resource page, if nothing else. And as I started losing weight and just sharing everything that I ate in a day, from breakfast, lunch to dinner, even my snacks, to every workout that I did, the women in the community started calling me like, hey, that's the fitness guru. Like, that's who you go to give your surgeon the foundation that you want. Like, this is, if you want a certain look for surgery and you need to lose the weight, you go to the expensive doll. And then I can't think of her name. She slid in my DMs and she was like, I'm going to send you some ebooks because you could do some ebooks. Like, I could see this for you, for the community. You create ebooks and we're going to buy them from you. And then I was like, oh, y'all purchase them from me? She was like, yeah. And if you need help, let me know. So it started with the make an ebook. And then another doll was like, have you ever thought about training, like coaching or like personal training or making a program? And I was like, girl, I'm not fit enough. You know, in the back of my head, I'm not enough, right? And she's like, you've inspired so many of us, and you've been doing this for over a year. You like, girl, you could have had a following on TikTok or something. At the time, I know what TikTok was. And I was like, I just do this because it makes me feel good. I feel like I'm helping the community. And the push from the community was basically a resounding, like, we want to buy something from you that'll help us. Yeah. And like, put all of your thoughts into one thing so we can buy it from you, right? So I sat down with my husband. I said, well, what do you think? Like, if I created, I don't know, a fitness program, but I would do it in a way that I'm transparent about my body and the goals that I have for myself, and just use it as a way, like, I'm not telling you to do this. And if you notice in my content, I never say do this. This is what worked for me, and it might work for you too if you gave it a try. I'm just giving you an option. And people resonate with that. So one day I sat down, it was the beginning of the year, and it was in the middle of my grief. I had just lost my sister, and I was sitting with my coworker, and I had been told about an event called Ebony Fit Weekend. I had met a friend named Theo, and he was like, these are all influencers and brands. And he's like, you'll have a brand of your own one day. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna make some ebooks. I don't know about no whole brand. And he was like, your story is the brand. What are you talking about? Right. So look, sit down with my coworker, and I was like, how would I even tag this as anything? What would I name it? And she was like, well, what is it? I was like, well, it's a plastic surgery fitness program is basically what it would be. A fitness program, but I would only make it for women who are having plastic surgery. I don't want women who are natural bodied to follow me and think that they can get these results. It would be for women who are already on my same journey. They already have the BBLs. They already want to work out. They know that health is important. And she was like, what would you call that? I said, well, it has to be like balanced or beautiful. I was like, well, my Instagram handle is Truly Expensive and the Expensive Doll. But I can't use expensive because then people want to pay for it because they're gonna think they can't afford it. And she was like, okay, so how would you swing that? I was like, okay, well, I'm fit and I have a BBL. I was like, what about the FitBBL? FitBBL. And she was like, it's catchy. So then I went and Googled how to name a business. And it said that your name should be both intriguing and controversial. Like, the best business are intriguing and they're controversial. Like, it should make people stop and think about that name. And with that, I was like, well, FitBBL, the FitBBL, the FitBBL. I was like, well, how would I not just have it as BBL for people who don't have a BBL, but they still want to support? So I wrote out BBL and I put the fit. And I said, what could BBL stand for other than Brazilian butt lift? And I was like, beautiful, balanced lifestyle, the style, the FitBBL. So in essence, we really are the fit, beautifully balanced lifestyle. It's a balance of mixing fitness and plastic surgery. And for women, the thing that we look for in a fitness journey is balance, because we're moms, wives, CEOs, entrepreneurs. educators. We're wearing all the hats and doing all the things. This has to be a lifestyle. And I love it because this wasn't me waking up one day saying I'm going to make some money. This was, we love you so much that we want you to win. And we as a community have voted you to be the winner. Go out there and create something for us and bring it back. But remember, it's for us. So a lot of natural, and I love y'all. I know some of y'all are going to be watching. You don't want surgery, but you're just intrigued. I don't not want to work with y'all. That's not the thing. I can still train because I'm getting that. So you don't train natural bodies? I'm like, no, don't start going skew that point of view, okay? Because like I'm starting
to do you don't, right?
Yeah, I know I do or I don't. And I know how to pick a side. And the side that I'm always going to pick is that the women in my community picked me. They chose me to be the woman that something and build something for them. So while it's not that I don't train natural body women, y'all have a lot of women out there who are ready to support you, who can support you in a way in which I may not be able to. I could
go find somebody else. She's already taken.
But I don't want to. I don't want to. It opens up too many cans of
Let me help you out.
Yeah.
She's taken already. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like always somebody's trying to take from this community. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we are so dedicated to this community, more than the surgeons, more than the money. It's all about the patients because they're always being taken advantage of, taken for granted. And then like you, when they go on this journey, all of this vulnerability, then they're taken for, grabs, meaning like taking jabs at and bullied and all of this stuff. So I think it's great that you stand up and you pick a side. Like no one, not even the Lord likes warmth. Okay.
Yeah, no, I had to.
Lukewarm.
Yeah, as more women are asking me, so you don't train natural bodies? And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be like, they're going to paint a picture as if I'm racist or like biased against natural bodies versus surgery bodies. But I was like, no, you built something for women who had surgery bodies. And you built something out of the need, because I see so many natural trainers taking shots at my community. And I'm just like, no, I stand clear on what I said. I could, but I don't want to. I need to be able to be on this side. That way, when I start taking shots back at natural body trainers, it was warranted. And I don't pretend to be.
I mean, 1000%. I'm on your side. I mean, actually, I was in the gym today and one of my fans in the gym, he was like, I was telling him I'm going to have surgery. He's like, I hope everything's okay. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm going to get this body right. He's like, well, I think your body looks fine the way it is. So many people are so obsessed with being perfect and having a six pack. And I was like, don't get it twisted. I love my body. Okay. I also believe in investing in science to be able to, aesthetically love my body even more. And that's on what I want for myself. It has nothing to do with you or anybody else. And so, these natural bodies, which as they get older are less and less natural. If they're natural until they're 40, they're not going to be natural after 40. I can promise you that. And especially in our generation where it's more accepted to have surgery. You know what I mean? The question is like,
we can accept.
Exactly. The question is, are they doing it the right way? Which is why I love how our companies align. And I love the partnership that we're building together, because it does need to be like sustained,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Plus what I'm finding is all of these natural body fitness influencers and coaches, they're natural up until the point that we get right here, which is crazy to me. Ma'am, those are not your boobs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I found out, not that she's ever hidden it from me, but I just never knew, that my own trainer had her boobs done. I didn't even know that. Now, she's never been a hater, never. I mean, she's trained me like when I have my baby, when I have my surgery, when I have my surgery again, she will be the one to help me get back to the gym. Like, she's just really great with that. But then I started checking out all of like those natural trainers on social media, and I have a better eye for surgery now. And, I ain't trying to get sued for defamation and stuff. But once I get to that Elon Musk level, I'm calling people out. Like,
I said it too. One day they had a post going and I was like, if those are veneers, if you have breast implants, if you have your lips done, do not say anything about a BBL.
Because if you got weave in your head.
Because you are not natural, baby. It was something about something like, you didn't like your hair, so you added.
If you had microdermabrasion for dark spots in between your thighs, under your arms, any of that. If you had a mole removed,
like if people are getting injections because they're too sweaty,
Yeah.
Like, I think
Botox.
it's all the same. It was something that you had altered. Someone helped you alter it. But because you didn't put it in your butt, you're all of a sudden better? No, honey. Those boobs are no different than that BBL. You had to go to a surgeon for it. And then it's the first thing they say is, well, boobs are fat and you lose them when you work out. Okay, well, for me, my booty was fat. I lost it when I worked out, so I replaced it. For a lot of women, they had booties, they lost it, they replaced it, or they didn't have one. Just like you ain't had them boobs, so you got them, and now you feel better. So they get their BBLs and they got the booty now, and now they feel better. You are no different. You just have more muscle.
Yeah, exactly. Love that.
We're all the same. We're all on the same journey. People on plastic surgery journeys, people in the gym journey, we all have one thing in common. We want to look better.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, I think that, I don't know what there is to say after that. I think that was the mic drop sentence right there.
Yeah, maybe it'll make sense to them and start resonating. Like, you're right. We all do want to look better. We all want to look better.
Well, if you guys want to sign up for any of Brittany's programs, get on her waiting list for her Summer Sizzler, make sure you go to her website, www.thefitbbl.com. You can also find her on all platforms at the FitBBL. And if you're going on your plastic surgery journey and you are looking for preparation and recovery, you'll also find her on the backside in the post-op once you're cleared for fitness. She is officially our fitness connection. So if we're intertwined. We're here to help you and make sure that you do surgery the right way. Thank you for joining us today. You're amazing.
Thank you.
And listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and we'll see you next time.